insights, picks, results. This is Wizard Sports Picks. Beyond the lines.
Okay, everybody, here we go. Welcome to Beyond the Lines, powered by WizardSportsPicks.com, your home to the sharpest opinions and the handicapping industry for the best collection of cappers across the board. I'm Dana Lane, and today, in honor of the start of the 2026 Major League Baseball exhibition season, Yankees, Orioles, on the television as we speak. We will continue to look at betting trends for the upcoming 2026 season. By the way, we are under 2 weeks away from the WBC tournament starting, so that will get us rolling into the regular season. I don't wager on that. I've never wagered on the WBC or any international tournaments, but it is, of course, for me, anytime you got the USA across your chest, I'm absolutely watching. So I'm very excited. Hope my boy Paul Skeens pitches well and does not get hurt. That is the hope of most Major League Baseball fans. Yes, win a gold medal, don't get hurt doing it. So looking forward to that. Today, we're going to look at three betting windows. We'll start things off with looking at three betting windows that matter the most to you. And then we're going to hand it over to a few questions. And one of them is, what is the biggest trap that Major League Baseball bettors get into? What is the one trap that they seem to fall into every single year? And we're also going to look at how to read line moves like a professional. Then we'll close it out with one angle that casual bettors never use, and if they do use it, they use it wrong. And we'll close the show with that. First, let's dive into a question that was sent to me earlier this week, and it asked a very simple question, and it has a very simple answer. You guys know it. Which sport over the course of the season is the most volatile to wager on? And of course, it's baseball. We know the answer is baseball. It's obvious, which is why we're answering it here. There is no sport on the planet where bankroll management is more important. There is no sport on the planet where you need to understand different angles and have and I hate to use the word system. I'm not trying to pigeonhole everybody in the system, but at least have a plan. And of course, from our perspective, this is the one sport where you really need to have a professional handicapper by your side. And of course, we have plenty of those at WizardSportsPicks.com. And the reasons are very simple. The obvious one, 162 game seasons, a season where we have lineups change daily. Bullpen uses create a ripple effect on wagering from day to day. Totals, if you're a total player, we know weather plays a massive role. We know wind plays a massive role. Which way is it going? How fast is it blowing out? Over 10 miles an hour certainly is a factor towards your wagering, but at the same time, we have to know that is already baked into the number as well. Books, we have to know that they adjust slower in April and May than they do in July, and August, and September. They're very quick and very sharp as the season goes on, and that makes April, May, and part of June, the early part of the season, that makes it the time that we pounce and really pat our bankroll, and then we adjust accordingly as we get to the summer months. Speaking of books adjusting, here are the three most important betting windows for casual bettors. So there's three windows when we're betting baseball that you really want to look at, and really these are the times to get involved. And it's not random, it's not, I can't tell you, and I'm sure you guys have seen it too, where you're in a sports book, guy walks up to the window, looks at who's pitching, really doesn't even care about the money line, just, I want to go bet the Dodgers. Well, enjoy laying your $350 to win $10. Number one, the first betting window that most professionals look at is the overnight lines. This is when you're going to have the softest numbers. The books protect themselves far less. The movement will be far more volatile. This is really good for betting totals. This is really good for betting underdogs. which is different than other sports, because if you're betting underdogs in other sports, you want to wait as long as possible. Typically in moneyline sports, you want to wait as long as possible to get the best number. That's not the case when we're talking about Major League Baseball. The second window of opportunity for Major League Baseball bettors is the morning market. Not the overnight market. It's when they first get up, and of course the East Coast wakes up before the West Coast, so you can kind of follow it across the country as far as the numbers moving. But public money has yet to arrive, and I'm talking about very early in the morning, where professional money has settled down. It has settled. There's very little professional money that comes in and moves the market after that. And now we're waiting for that public wave of money to come in and move the number. It gives you a look. There's that window where it gives you the look at where the sharp bettors are placing their money. And you have to determine, well, I'm going to go with the guys that are putting up big money, or am I going to fade those guys? And that's, completely up to you. I don't get involved in that too much because I have a strict system that I adhere to, or strict rules. We'll talk about some of those in a second. It's also that morning market is also the best time to bet those first 5 inning wagers as well. And then your third window to wager on, the third window that you're going to get the most movement, is the late market. And that is what we just discussed, where the general public, the guy that looks at the board, looks at pitching, makes this a guess off the top of his head, that's when we get the public influence in that late market. You will also, and there are some pluses to waiting later, you will also get the most accurate injury update. You will get lineup. Many times you'll get the lineup before the game starts, or you always will get the lineup before the game starts. This is valuable information as well. It is also a great time to fade steam plays. You can grab an inflated total. So of all three of those, there's different reasons why you might want to get involved in those windows. But those 3 windows, if you're looking for a movement on the money line, or movement on the total, or on the juice, run line, those are the time of days where you will absolutely get the most movement. The lesson here is to know it's as important to know when to wager as it is to know who you're wagering on. Now that we know when to wager, what are some of the traps that Major League Baseball bettors fall into over the course of 162 games? This number one on the list is by far number one, because you can apply this to almost every sport. Yesterday's blowouts mean nothing today. Over the last 3 seasons, teams winning by 4 or more runs are just 1,518 and 1,397 for a win percentage of .521, minus 11,232 units on a 100-unit wager. So we cannot take a team that just blew somebody out the day before and come right back and say, well, they're going to win. You got a 52% chance of them winning, but over the course of the season, if you did that on every game, you obviously would be down over 11,000 units. So let's break that down a little bit more. What if a team really blows somebody out by 6 runs or more? I mean, that's got to be demoralizing. A team coming back after getting crushed 7-1 the night before, that's got to be really demoralizing. Well, guess what? It's not. In fact, it's almost the same. 749 wins, 687 losses, a .522 win percentage, minus 6,628 units. As you can see, we need to cap every game as a separate entity and forget about what you just saw the night before. These are professionals, and that means not only are they professionals athletically, they're also professionals mentally. The second trap is trusting April or May statistics way too much. Early season numbers create fake edges. It is just, we cannot be there in August and look at a team and say, well, I mean, they've hit 250 this season, when in fact, over the last 30 days, this team is around 280. I think that 280 number over the last 30 days is way more telling than what happened over the course of a long season, because we're not factoring in injuries. At some point, every team has injuries, and maybe they have them early on, which is why that team batting average is not where they would expect it to be, or where you would expect it to be as a bettor. Take the last 30 days. To me, we always talked about recent form, whether it's no matter what the sport is. Recent form to me in baseball is, and if we're talking about a team, recent form is the last 30 days, and we're talking about starting pitching, it's the last 5 starts. I want to know where you're trending, but I could care less what you trended 10 starts ago, because it has nothing to do with who you are today. And of course, the third trap, we talked about this at length last week. The third trap is ignoring bullpen fatigue. A tired or overused bullpen can turn a great handicap into a losing ticket. This is an example, though. One caveat to this. This is an example of when you can look at a blowout the day before, or look at box scores the day before, and kind of apply it to what you're going to see. This is very important to total bettors. But it's not about the final score. It's about bullpen usage. So you want to make sure when you go day to day, hey, look, I want to make sure I have strong starting pitching, and I want to make sure that I have a strong bullpen. And that's when you can go back a little bit and say, yep, check. I got, we had a reliever give up 6 earned runs in 4 innings, but they only used 1. And so that means my bullpen is strong for today. So those are your 3 trap spots. But when you're looking at a number, how do you read it like professionals read it? And it's very simple. What does sharp money look like? What does sharp movement look like? Typically, a number will go up early, that early morning number, the overnight line that we talked about. It will move quick. Chances are this is sharp numbers. Now, this is a sharp wager. Now, there are times where it's not a sharp wager, and it's called a fake steam movement. And typically what it will look like in this situation is a number will move quick. And then it snaps right back to its original number within minutes. Well, why is this? Well, it's very simple. Syndicates or groups will bet on a team, the opposite team of what they want to wager on. They will bet a little bit, just enough to move that number early on, because that's when the numbers will move, and then they come right back after the movement and bet the other side. So for instance, if you have a team that's minus $1.50, they might bet it up to $1.60. Now if they really want to bet the underdog, now they've given themselves a position to bet plus $1.30 on the dog rather than plus $1.20 on the dog, and they'll load up on that second wager a lot more than they would on the first wager. So there is real steam movement where you see a number pop up to a certain level and it sticks. It doesn't move. And then there's fake steam movement where it's like, oh, it goes up and it goes right back down. You might sit there and say, oh, it's two conflicting big bettors. Chances are it's the same group, the same syndicate, so beware of that. Fake steam is a strategy that is used, and but as an individual wager, maybe let the dust settle just a little bit to make sure that the number you're getting is a true number. Now, you can use it to your advantage. I mean, if you're looking to bet the other side, you could ride the wave with that. With that fake steam move, you could ride that wave and say, look, I'm getting a 132. So be aware of those things going on. Those are more things that you want to watch out for when you're betting these games on the overnight line. What is one major league? Before I get to that, when the line moves, I also want to explain this to you, because a lot of people ask me about this. When a line moves in one way, but you see betting percentages go the other way, so say 60% of the money line action is on Team A, but you see Team B's movement going in their favor, that is nothing more than respected money versus pros versus Joes, that type of thing. So it's more professional money, which the books look at more. They will move that number based on professional money way more than they will move it, based upon Joe coming in from Iowa for the weekend to bet games. Sorry to all the Joes that are from Iowa, but they will move those numbers based upon respected money, which is why sometimes you have a conflicting report. Now, I had another question also this week. What is one Major League Baseball betting angle that almost no one takes advantage of? And if they do it improperly. Well, that is very simple. That is, I've heard this 100 times. My friend and I, my best friend at the time, the late Brian Blessing, a lot of you probably know who he is. We used to do a daily radio show together, and we would talk about this sort of thing, but we would do it in hockey. In fact, we even got down to like the dad's trip and the trends with that. But it really applies to baseball as well. And this trend is simply that East Coast to West Coast travel trend. Body clocks are off. Bullpen usage is uncertain. Lineup rotations are volatile. It should be an easy winner for the home team. That makes sense, right? Well, we know one thing about betting. Everything that makes sense is going to eventually be a loser. East to West travel on day one of a series. And again, we're going back 3 seasons. Over the last 3 years, East Coast teams going west are 291 and 296 in game 1 of a series, plus 2,081 units. Home teams are overpriced, and it is as simple as that. Now, you might want to say, well, certainly that settles in. What about game 3? What about game 2, game 3? No, the road team from the East Coast going west is plus money in game 1, game 2, and game 3 since 2023. So over the last 3 seasons, the only time the home team has an advantage is in game 4. If it's a 4-game series, game 4, the home team over the last 3 years has had an advantage. That's an incredible statistic. So yes, you should be taking advantage of that, but maybe there's something psychological to that. Maybe it's more about, hey, an East Coast team is very excited to get to the West Coast, especially if it's early in the season. Maybe there's something psychological about it. And honestly, guys, the way these guys travel today, it's not that taxing. They go in, they walk up to the tarmac. I've seen it happen before. They walk up to the private plane. They get there and they relax. They get off, get to the hotel. Everything's taken care of for them. The only time, now this might be something you might want to look at, is if there's delays. And once in a while you hear information trickling out that teams don't get into their hotel till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But also keep in mind, starting pitchers often leave before the rest of the team. So they are as fresh as possible. And that's something that a lot of people don't put into the equation when they're wagering on this trend. As we end the show, guys, the moral to today's story is stop betting teams, start betting situations. The market tells a story every day, and it's up to you to read it. I'm going to be breaking down these angles all season long. Make sure to pick up your all-access pass at wizardsportspicks.com. You can ride with me all baseball season. Everything we talked about, I do the work for you. I throw in the algorithm, and it spits out what games I should be on. It's a tremendous asset to what I do, and you can be part of that. From right now, we start an exhibition season all the way through the last pitch of the World Series. Also, when you're at wizardsportspicks.com, go down to that box where it asks you to put your email in there. Your first play from wizardsportspicks.com will be absolutely free for doing so. You can follow me on X at Dana Lane Sports and at Wizard Sports Picks at The Wizards Edge. Please hit that like and subscribe button on the videos, not just my video, everybody's video. We're trying to grow this thing. We're trying to bring this family together, and we can't do it without you, but we do appreciate you watching the video today. We're going to have another incredible Major League Baseball season. Once again, I encourage everyone to join me. For Beyond the Lines, I'm Dana Lane. All the best to you and your wagers in the Major League Baseball exhibition season.